Can this gas grill beat an offset smoker? I'm going to attempt to make the perfect brisket on a gas grill. And then I'm going to compare it with a brisket that's made on an offset smoker. And then I'm going to have my editor Jim do a blind taste test to figure out if he can taste the difference between a gas grill brisket and an offset smoker brisket. To the right, more to the right, more to the right, more to the right. I know this is not going to be an easy task because cooking briskets on offset smoker is a Texas tradition that has been perfected over decades. Fine-tuning the offset smokers to cook the briskets to perfection. Where on the other hand, the gas grill is definitely not built for cooking briskets. But I got some tricks up my sleeve. It all started yesterday when I did the preparations. I got these two beautiful briskets from Drier, which is a crossbreed between Black Angus and Holstein dairy cows. They've been raised and fed to really high standards to get a beautiful end product with intense marbling and great flavor. The first thing that I did was weigh the brisket to get the exact weight. The next step was trimming the briskets to cut them to the right size, make sure that there are no thin parts that would dry out during the cook. And then I weighed the briskets again. And guess what I discovered? I had one heavy brisket and I had a lighter brisket. But I had to cut so much off the weight of the heavy brisket that they came very close to the weight in the end. So most of the time buying bigger brisket is not the way to go because you'll be paying for a lot of hamburger meat. Which is exactly what I did with the meat trimmings. I put them in the meat grinder, and because the fat to meat ratio was about 50-50, I put it in the freezer to later mix up with some lean beef so I can make burgers out of it. The fat shavings is a different story. I put them in a pan and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that later on. Because I know the weight of the briskets, I also know how much salt to add, because you want about 2% of salt to your brisket. The thicker parts get a little bit more salt than the thinner parts, but overall they just get wrapped and go into the fridge. Airplane. Kind of looks like a training plane for skydivers almost. But this is not the place to drop skydivers. I know we're cooking brisket, guys. Don't come here skydiving thinking you'll get brisket. It's not done yet. Keeping the briskets overnight in salt is called a dry brining process. It draws out some of the moisture, but more importantly, it lets the salt draw into the meat. And that's kind of important flavor-wise, because every bite is going to taste exactly the same. This is a technique that one of the most famous barbecue restaurants in Texas actually uses. So now I'm going to put these briskets on a rack. That's going to give them an opportunity to dry up a little bit. And a dryer outside on the brisket is going to ensure that we're going to get a good smoke cohesion. Basically, it's going to pick the smoke flavor up better. The rest of the preparation process of the brisket is easy. All I'm going to do is put on a little bit of peppercorns, just sprinkle them on and make sure you got a nice thick coat on them. They're already seasoned with salt, so we don't need to add anything else. All I need to do then is stick in my wireless chef temp thermometer, put the brisket on a smoker with the thickest part towards the fire. I'm also going to put in my fat trimmings to melt them down to beef tallow and smoke them at the same time. And a water pan because today is just a beautiful day. Now for my smoke in the first stage, I'm just going to go a little heavier on the oak. And after about half an hour, I'm going to switch to 50% oak and 50% beech. That's going to give me a perfect balance for flavor. Of course, using my gas grill is not the logical thing to do. Look at it. It's perfect for grilling and it's perfect for indirect cooking, and it's basically perfect for cooking anything outdoors other than classic American barbecue. And I think that's just a challenge, because imagine cooking a brisket on a gas grill that is as good or even better than an offset smoker brisket. Oh. Now I can't just use it as it is. I have to apply some tricks, but it's surprisingly easy to do. You see, all I have to do is take out the middle grill grate, slide the other two grates in the center, remove the outside heat deflectors, place in the smoke boxes, put a couple of wood chips in and put the lid on, and put aluminum trays on the grill grate, put a little bit of warm water in them, and then put the brisket on the heating tray. And now we created the perfect indirect setup for smoking on a gas grill. You can see that we clearly have both of these barbecues now smoking, and that's what I want in my first phase of the cook. I need to get a little bit of dirty smoke in the beginning just because I want that flavor. I really need that oak to set in on the brisket and get that first layer of flavor on. Because the further I go in the cook, the less able I am to add flavor to the brisket. You see, a high core temperature is less flavor penetration. So now is the only time to get a little bit of dirty smoke. In the meantime, I'll be adding a log of oak every half hour for the first part of the cook on the offset smoker, and I'll be filling up the smoker trays every 30 minutes on my Napoleon gas grill. You see, that's almost the same amount of effort, and really from this point on, there's not much difference between the two cooks. Now this is the Napoleon Prestige Pro, which is kind of like the ultimate version of a gas barbecue, and it's been standing here for 6 years and still looks like brand new. And it even has a special feature, which is a smoker draw. You just pull it out, put some wood chips in, and then there's a special burner to burn the wood chips with to smoke your food. Now, why am I bringing this up and not actually using it? Well, I want to prove a point. You see, in my eyes, this experiment is a success if I can prove that you can cook a brisket on any gas barbecue as long as it's large enough. It doesn't have to be the ultimate version of a gas barbecue, but it's got to be big enough, and then you will be able to cook an actual brisket on your own gas grill. Of course, I still have to find out if it will pass the blind taste test. Well, we'll see that soon enough. No, not soon enough actually. It's going to take a long time still. Yeah. We're now 2 hours into the cook and the briskets are already starting to look good. I think it's quite impressive to see that we got a beautiful bark on our brisket. We're getting to that dark spot. The brisket actually builds up a bark and starting to look like a real Texas style brisket. All I have to do is maintain that 30-minute add of wood chip, and I think we'll get the bark that I'm looking for in about a total of 6 hours or so. Which is no surprise because that is what it's built for. But what I do notice is the buildup of bark on the offset smoker is a little bit slower than the buildup of bark on the gas grill. So I might need to slow it down a little bit on my gas grill to kind of get the same effect. I don't want to over smoke the gas grill brisket and have it to taste a little bit more smoky than the offset smoker brisket, because, you know, in the blind taste test, you might even think that the gas grill brisket is the offset brisket because of the more smoke flavor it gets. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But then I'm kind of influencing the effect. Now I'm just gonna try and keep the color as much the same as possible and the build-up bark as same as possible, just to get it as close together as I can. The past hours, I've been working really hard to get that bark up on the offset smoker. I'm trying to make it look as good as the brisket on the gas grill, which looks amazing. And I don't know why the brisket on the gas grill is looking better than the one on the offset smoker. It's kind of driving me nuts. I even stopped adding wood chips to the brisket on the gas grill because it's just looking too good and I don't want it to go any further than it already is. But the brisket on the offset doesn't have the bark that I want. So I'm going to change something around. It might just be the beef fat that sits in the tray. So I'm going to move that to the back so the brisket is fully exposed to the hot air traveling through the smoke chamber. Hopefully that will help build up a better bark on the brisket. The briskets have been smoking over 7 hours now, but more importantly, the bark on the brisket is now pristine. It is prime bark time. They're perfectly in between moist and crunchy, but beautifully developed to dark brown, almost black. And the offset smoker definitely caught up on color compared to the gas grill. So currently they're almost identical. And that means it's now time to wrap the briskets because we're no longer cooking for looks. We're now cooking for doneness. I'm gonna lay it down on some butcher's paper, drizzle on a little bit of that beef tallow that we melted down, and then wrap it up completely before putting it back on the smoker to keep on cooking. Of course, I'm gonna do the same thing for my Napoleon grill brisket, but look at this bark. This is absolutely insane. I'm gonna lay it down on some butcher's paper, a little bit of that beef tallow, wrap it up, put it back on the Napoleon and let it cook. What I really need from these briskets now is to get up to a temperature of 94 degrees Celsius. So that's going to probably take another couple of hours and I'll just be patiently feeding that fuel hog right there. My Napoleon grill brisket has reached the core temperature of 94 degrees Celsius and it's becoming soft and tender. And that is kind of the point that we're taking it off. Now I can shut this off because it's not going back on the barbecue after this. All I'm going to do now is just wrap this in a sheet of aluminum foil. Make sure I pack it tight. I'm talking about airtight. From this point on, I'm not letting any of the moisture evaporate. And this is going into the oven at 60 degrees overnight. The offset smoker brisket probably needs about 15 more minutes until it's done. I'm just going to check and check and check. When it's perfect, I'm taking it off. wrapping it up in aluminum foil and putting it in the oven. Sometimes we call it resting of the brisket when we keep it overnight in the oven, but it really isn't. It's more of holding the brisket. And holding, we mean hold the temperature at a certain amount of, well, long periods of time at the same temperature. And it's basically like a cheat code. It's almost like doing a sous vide step on the brisket, but it makes such a big difference. What I've got here is the Offset Smoker Brisket. It's going to be my reference to the gas grill brisket. I put a little sticker on so I knew which one was which, and I'm actually really curious to see how it turned out. It got a little late and a little dark. We're gonna find out. Ooh. Ooh, super soft. I can tell from picking it up. Let's get this unpacked. You can see we're adding the beef tallow. It's really paying off on the paper, keeping it nice and greasy. Let's lift this up. Got a good mahogany color from the Offset. It's nice and red and it turns super soft. Just look at that wiggle that's in this brisket. That is a good sign. I'm gonna slice it up at a point. I think that is one beautiful looking brisket. The fat rendered down to perfection. We got good render on the fat in between the meat right there. It's plenty of juicy. That is one good looking brisket. Let's take a look at the flat. What do we have there? Nice smoke ring. Got a little drier fat. That's what I'm used to with this brisket. It's the breed that doesn't have too much fat. And you can see that by if you're pulling it, there are no gaps opening up. So that's how you know there's not a lot of intramuscular fat. But it still looks pretty good. Very confident that this is going to be a good brisket. And this is our gas grill brisket. Now when I wrap this up, the bark actually looked better than the Offset Smoker Brisket. But I still want to keep it as close as possible, looks wise, to the Offset Smoker Brisket, so I can fool my editor. Right? Whoa! Will you look at that? That is a perfect bark. I'm really confident. Look at that. That is beautiful. The fat rendered down to perfection. It's nice and soft. We didn't get as much of a smoke ring, but with a blind taste, that kind of doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the flat. No smoke ring. I think it's the same structure. I'm pretty confident that we're going to get a really nice test where it's super close between a gas grill brisket and the Offset brisket, because even though that there is no smoke ring, it doesn't mean you don't get that smoke flavor. As a matter of fact, the smoke ring mostly comes from the nitrate in the smoke, and you're probably not going to be able to taste that difference in nitrate. But what you can taste is tenderness, juiciness, and structure of the meat. But looking at these two briskets, I think we're really close. Follow the sound.
Follow the sound.
A little bit to the right. A
There's
little
no
bit
dog.
to the right, to the right, more to the right, more to the right, more to the right. A lot more to the right. Yeah, almost, yeah. Come in. Stick your hand out. This is the table. Good.
So far so good, I made it. Nobody told me how hard this was.
So I got two briskets.
Mm-hmm.
One is made on an offset smoker, and one brisket is made on a gas grill. Most people think you cannot make a brisket on a gas grill. But we just proved that you can actually make a brisket on a gas grill. The question is, are you able to taste the difference and tell me which of these briskets is a gas grill brisket and which of these brisket is the offset brisket?
Cool, 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 cool. Same smoke wood, or can I ask any questions?
I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay.
Hold up your hand, here comes a little piece.
All right. That's a tasty brisket.
Good brisket?
Mm-hmm.
Don't say anything, just enjoy the moment, take it on.
That's really good. Really good.
Now we're going to try the other brisket.
It's also very nice.
Yeah, is it a good brisket?
It's a good brisket. Okay.
Which one did you enjoy more?
I think the second one.
Yeah, you enjoyed the second one more?
Yeah. It's a little bit more Defined smoke flavor.
Okay. Yeah. A little bit
Intense.
more intense smoke flavor.
Intense.
Is it softer?
I don't think so. No.
Is it more tender?
No.
Tender,
difference in-
soft wise, there's
It's like the same. Yeah.
so and the fat, it melts in your mouth just the same way.
Yeah. I think the first one had more beef flavor.
Okay.
Because I think the second one has a little bit more smoke flavor.
Okay. Okay, then now tell us what you think is the Offset Smoker Brisket and which one is the Gas Grill Brisket.
I think the second one is the Offset because of the pronounced smoke flavor.
Okay, take off the blindfold.
Did I mess up?
You totally messed up.
Really?
Yeah, you enjoyed the Gas Grill Brisket better than the Offset Smoker Brisket.
For real?
Yeah, and
No,
this is
I'm losing my hat.
you
Yeah.
can make a brisket on a gas grill that tastes just as good as a brisket on an offset smoker using the method that I used. I'm not saying that it doesn't take a little bit of practice. It definitely requires a little bit of practice, but we're super close. It definitely offset, gas grill. Wow. There's one tasty brisket. No,
It's
it has more smoke flavor.
even out, smoother.
I think we have a success here. You can make an editor to think he's eating an offset smoker brisket that actually comes from a gas grill. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Until then, eet smakelijk.
And keep on
Eating brisket.
on gas grills.